All right. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
加油了吗？
Hi. All right. So good to see all of you again. It always feels like way too long between classes. I don't know, maybe you guys are busy, but I always feel like Allah just let me know that the bathroom door in the hotel is open. I'm sorry. I could walk over there, I guess. Anyway, you guys want to see? It's actually a really great hotel. There's a bathtub right in the middle of the room. It's like a paradise. I got in last night from Kyoto, and I was just like, I can't go home. I was too tired. So I decided to stay at my little paradise hotel. Actually, if you guys want to look outside here, this is actually relevant for the class, of course. Has a nice little garden out there. Phoenix is wonderful at 5 a.m. Right, Mark? And then after the sun comes up, it becomes a burning hell realm. So I thought to do the class from outside, but there's people on their porch enjoying it, and I didn't want to bother them. But I missed you guys. I was been preparing this class for the last week or so, and I was just like, wow, I missed seeing a lot of you. I missed seeing your faces, and I'm very glad that a lot of you are here, and many of you, there's a lot of you I don't know. So welcome. If this is your first time, hi Shanti. It's good to see you. I'm going to see you in a couple of weeks. If it's your first time, could you just let us know in the chat by saying hello? And if it's not your first time, I don't know, just smile. Hi, Teresa. So we've got a couple new people here. So where are we? For those of you who have been with these classes for quite a while, this is the 8th course of a 36 course series. Oh, Persis, how are you? It's good to see you. I got to send you that picture I took of you the other day. So there's 36 courses. How exciting is that? That sounds like the rest of your life. And this is the 8th of 36. And I was talking to someone recently about how are you going to teach this course, Tim? Because this is particularly, it's an interesting course because it takes us into the Buddhist conception of the world. It takes us into, I've heard people describe it as cosmology, the Buddhist cosmology, like the Buddhist conception of what is the world made of? And this comes from a teaching, which is this is the 3rd chapter of the Abhidharma Kosha. And so this course really is it seems like a detour. And if this is your first class, welcome for getting on the highway. I always like to think that no matter, just because this is the 8th course doesn't mean you've missed anything. Okay. Just because this might be the first time you've joined us doesn't mean that you don't have a foundation to join, or that you're like, oh gosh, I don't belong here. I really believe that we join at the time that's right for us. I remember, oh, this is way back when we were doing, we're in the middle of a series of classes. This is not the promo ACI team. Okay, don't relax. We have a series of we're in 44th, the 44th class or 44th course of a series called Lam Rim, which is the steps on the path, which is everything that you need to know to go from the beginning of suffering, the beginning of who we are, and transform ourselves into a kind of being who's capable of serving all beings. And so there's 44 of those courses, okay? And I'll be doing a promo later about that coming up. But I remember this was maybe the second or third year in, we were doing a meditation. And it's this beautiful meditation where you sit with your teacher and you see them dissolve into different colored lights. And you see them enter your body in those different colored lights. And they represent different things. Like you're visualizing, for example, the mind of your teacher, right? And you're seeing them come into your heart as a blue light. You visualize the speech of your teacher as a red light coming into your throat. You visualize the body of your teacher, like the physical form, like the perfected physical form as a white light, for example. And I remember a student got really upset. She was so upset. It's okay. You don't have to be on camera. I'm not going to make you be on camera for this class. But it's really nice if you do have your camera on, because I can see you. I can see your reactions. It helps me because at least 5 people laugh at my jokes. So it makes me feel like I'm, at least some people are connecting, even if they're bad jokes. I appreciate you laughing at them. But so in this student who had been around for years, Maria, I think it was Lam Rim 5, I think, maybe 6. It was a retreat. And the student was so mad. They got so afflicted. Because they were like, I went to 7 years of courses in New York. I went to 7 years of courses at Diamond Mountain. And now you're teaching a Diamond Way meditation in Lam Rim to brand new students. They were so mad. And and the funny part was, I was like, I just thought it was a beautiful meditation. I was like, I didn't realize what it was. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, no, that's a wrong view. That's a wrong view. Like, you enter the class that you're supposed to go into, the class that you have the seeds to come into, right? So I just happened to be a newer student and happened to have the seeds to hear this meditation, which of course I had no idea what it was really about. You learn that in what's 18 plus 9, Course 27. Okay. All right. I just taught you something from course 27. But so what I'm saying is if you're brand new, you're perfectly where you're supposed to be. Okay. And there's something here that you're just drawn to here, that there's something special in this class for you. Okay. So in this class, we're going to be talking about everything that the world is made of. And we're specifically going to talk about all the different kinds of life there is, all the different kinds of beings there are. Where do they live? How do they live? Can we see all of them? Oh, Alexander, your kid's so cute. I love when people bring their children to class. And so what's really fascinating for me about this class is when I first took it, I was kind of scratching my head. I was like, what? Why are we talking about all these different places where beings live? And especially more importantly, the ones that we can't see, the ones that we can't perceive. But the Abhidharmakosha tells us that these beings are there. And there's all these detailed descriptions. Some of them are way over the top. And some of them are, quite frankly, I will never, ever want to go there. And I think there's probably some fear that all of us have of those places because we have been there. What do I mean by that? And this is all in course 4. So if you're brand new, course 4 is all about proving why we've been there. Okay. What it's been like to have a stream, a mind stream that goes on before you, during you, and after you. Okay. So maybe there's some kind of fear that we sort of internalized in some way, because quite frankly, when we describe them, we're going to be like, this is not pleasant at all. It's not pleasant at all to be in many of these places. In fact, if you've been around long enough on this planet, there's a lot of unpleasantness in this life. Yeah, there's some good things, but there's a lot of unpleasantness, like even just our own body's age, and if you've lived a beautiful life where you've had a lot of leisure and fortune and not had a lot of bad things happen, like you haven't experienced war, or I strangely, I consider myself middle-aged, something like that. I haven't experienced a lot of death in my life. Like people in my family live freaking forever. They never go away. Like they live until like 90. I've had very, very little death in my life. There's been key moments, I've had friends who have died. I've had people close to me, but relatively my life has been pretty nice, right? From that point of view. But then there's the point of view of, how much body suffering do you have? How sick have you gotten in life? Health is kind of an accident, friends. Like if we really look at every single day, like how Like if you took a meter from 1 to 10 and you just got up and said, how do I feel today? How often would you be in the 8, 9, 10 realm? How often are you in the 5s? How often are you in the 1s or 2s or 3s? I was just in Taiwan and Japan for 2 weeks. Putting a smile on my face most of the time, but my body hurt most of the time. My back was killing me, like taking up so much mental and physical space. Right. And I was like, God dang, this sucks. This hurts. I did get better by the end process. So it was much more relaxed by the end. But it's just, suffering life, right? So this whole course, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be describing all of these worlds. For $100, what's the opening line of the Abhidharma Kosha in Tibetan?
Lele jikte natsokie.
You can turn on your microphone.
Lele jikte natsokie.
Yeah, I didn't think anyone would figure that, remember that. Good job. Send me your PayPal. All right, Lele Jikten Nasoke. Someone was studying. Nice job. So Lele Jikten Nasoke is the opening lines of the 4th chapter, which is the chapter after we're going to be studying in this course. And it means that the many worlds that there are come from karma, come from the way that you treated other people. You want me to type it in Tibetan? Are you kidding me? Da, 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 I think. Hold on. Let me now you're gonna make me clarify myself here. Hold on. I'm missing one letter here. And if someone can do it faster than me, you can beat me here.
Ja, wie du willst. Die beste so.
That's not the Tibetan, that's the pronunciation. Da, 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 da. Where are you? Sorry, I'm just looking it up here. Where are you? What class is it in? Does anyone remember? ACI 4. All right, I'll look it up in a second. There it is. Thank you. I was right. Yes. Thank you, Anastasia. Good job. All right, I was correct. Okay. I think. Yes. That's the transliteration above. For all of you who are new, that's the transliteration that we have in the ACIP database. And then the one below is the Tibetan script. Why do we have it in Roman letters? Because it makes it searchable. Wow, Barbara, nice screenshot. Nice. Okay, so what that means, okay, so that was a little diversion, purposeful diversion. The multitude of worlds that there are come from karma. Come from, and what I mean by karma is, comes from the way that you treat other people. The way that you have treated other people in the past creates the world that's there for you right now. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to dive deep into that line. And diving deep into that is because the line is the multitude of worlds come from the way you've treated other people in the past. So we're going to be investigating all the different worlds there are, all the worlds we can see, all the worlds that we can't see. And we're going to get to a place, I think, where then we're going to start looking at the world that we have. Like, what world do we have? And what benefit does our world have? What benefit does this have that maybe some of the other worlds don't have? Elena, I like your sunglasses. And then on top of that, and this course is meant to, there's a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a little bit of depression, not depression, but motivation that this course creates. Because this course is called, here we go, I get to use my first slide, yay. Where are you? It's called Death and the Realms of Existence. Okay. So we're going to be eventually going to a place where we're going to be talking about how does one move between the various worlds. If you were to move after this life, right? After your mind goes on, your mind projects, continues to project worlds. After this one is over, what comes next? So what comes next? You have to pass through something. And that passing through, that transition, that passing, we're going to call death. Okay. You know, and it's a little bit, one of the things that Buddhism does very well is it teaches us about what death is like, what the death process is like, and how to move through it. And it's a very comprehensive, very, very comprehensive. And as you get deeper into the courses, we go deeper into what that's about. And I don't know about you, but I think a lot about my own death and my own impermanence and my own, like, this body doesn't last. And the older you get, the more it reminds you that this body doesn't last. Things, I don't know, weird stuff just starts happening that you don't do anything and you wake up in pain. You're like, when you're younger, you're like, oh yeah, I fell down, or oh yeah, I was, running around, or I was, no, it just starts hurting. I remember someone was complaining to Venerable Jigme about body pains, and her answer was not, what hurts. She said, how many things hurt at the same time? And the person was like, well, one. And she goes, start complaining to me when it's 4 things or 5 things. Then that's when you're old. When you have one thing that hurts, no problem. When 5 things don't work. I mean, even yesterday, walking through the airport, Geshe Michael twisted his ankle in customs. Like, had took out his passport, and all of a sudden, he's limping, and I'm like, what's going on? He goes, I don't know, my foot just made a noise. right? Your body just starts making weird noises. So then we got to push him around in a wheelchair. And at first he was anyone would be uncomfortable, right? And then he turns to me and he says, Tim, finally he's like, you can call me Professor X. I don't know if you guys know from X-Men. There you go. I got some giggles on that one. Like he looked at me and finally you all can recognize who I am, right? If you don't know who Professor X is, go look it up. But yeah, his foot just started hurting randomly, right? So we're pushing Michael around in a wheelchair, right? He'll be fine. It's not terrible, but the body just starts breaking down. Okay. And so we're going to go into the whole point of this class. There's many points, but one of the main points of this class is to get us thinking about our own impermanence and our own death and our own, well, how much time do I really have? And if the Abhidharma is true, Lele Jikte Nasoke, if it's true that the multitude of worlds come from karma, what's next, guys? What's next? What's next? Like, can we guarantee that we're going to be being able to stay in beautiful hotel rooms and have comfort and leisure and bathtubs, right? A lot of you live in places where it's, some of you live in places where there's bombs being dropped. Like, the next one could be you. And I'm not just talking about like a bomb, like it could be a car wreck. It could be a sickness. It could be tomorrow, Tim's back starts hurting so bad that he can't walk anymore. Right? It could happen. Hope it doesn't happen, right? How many people wake up and they feel really kind of sick and then they go to the doctor and they're like, oh, well, we're sorry, stage 4 cancer. Sorry. You got a month. Has anyone ever been in that situation? I mean, maybe not for themselves, but someone around them. That's the worst news to get. You're completely healthy. And then someone goes, oh yeah, you're not really healthy. You got about 3 weeks. Go to Disney World. Go say goodbye to your family. Right? And it's real, like it happens. So where are we going next? And if where we're going next, if you know all the places that you could go, or all the kinds of beings that could become, maybe we can do something about that. And I think it's really incredibly important that this class comes up right now. What was the last class we did? Thank you, translators. I really appreciate all the work that you're doing for everybody here. Yeah, that's right. We did 7. We did the Bodhisattva vows. Okay. Okay, so what are Bodhisattva vows? I was talking to, we gave Bodhisattva vows right before we left to a group of students. And then, I don't know if some of you might know Stanley. Stanley was then going to teach the vows, the course to them. And we were talking about it, and he said, Tim, I can't teach 10 classes. I can only teach 4. What should I teach? I'm like, in my mind, I rolled my eyes. I'm like, 4 classes? Okay, all right. Don't judge. Okay, you have 4 classes. What are you going to teach them? Right. And I thought about it, and I had an inspiration about, I don't like the word vows. I think it's kind of, for some people it works. For people like me, vows sound too serious. They sound too like forever. I don't do very good with the word forever. I like to think of them as a roadmap. Like someone, the Buddha, gave us the roadmap. Nice, Desmond. Gave us a roadmap to how to solve our problems. So the thing that I suggested to Stanley was, all right, look, you're not going to be able to teach all of them, give every little detail. But what you could do is teach them to use the Bodhisattva commitments to solve problems in their life. So if you have a certain kind of problem, you can go through the 64 of them and be like, okay, this problem is related to all these different kinds of actions. Things that I'm not doing or things that I am doing that's creating this problem. Like things that are creating pain or creating suffering or creating, list your mental affliction of the day, negative emotion of the day. Go through those vows, go through those commitments, and find the ones that fit. Stop doing the negative side and start doing the positive side. So that's one way you can use those bodhisattva commitments. Find a problem in your life. Like I have my book practice and I go through, I have something like 260 some commitments, something like that. And you rotate through them. And after a while, it just becomes kind of maybe boring because my human mind gets bored. So what I do is I think about, well, what am I seeing in my world right now that I want to change? And I go through all 200 and some, and I pick out the ones that are related. Here are guidances that the Buddha gave us because we're not, look, if we were already a being who could serve all beings, we wouldn't be in class. If we already could do it, we wouldn't have to be here. Okay. If we already did it, we wouldn't be in these bodies that are born, get old, and die. And maybe you're okay with life just being born, live it, and die. But I'm not. Okay, I'm not satisfied with that. I'm not satisfied with things just always being the same. Yes, Nikita, we are these bodies, but we might want to be changing them. Okay, we are these bodies. I can't emanate my body into something better yet. Okay. But I'm tired of it. I am tired. Yeah, I'm not going to argue Diamond Cutter Sutra. I am my body. Don't argue my body. We can talk about it later. But I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied with the way things are. And the Buddha gave us a path to say, look, there's something different. Someone told me to be Disney, the Disney way. This is a new thing in the ACI. and amongst the ACI team, that when we're not being nice to each other, someone just says, the Disney way. I am being nice to Nikita. I'm just debating Nikita because he started a debate in the chat. So I think this class really is about and I think that's why many of you are probably who study ACI, is that you're not satisfied with the normalcy of life, the normal body, the normal mind. You're not satisfied with the way things appear to you. And if you live in a body that's not comfortable, that's in pain all the time, whether it's emotional pain or mental pain or physical pain, and if you've lived long enough, you will experience all of those. You know, you can just keep going on. That's a way. But those people that get attracted to spiritual paths, and I'm not saying only Buddhism, but I think spiritual paths in general, you're not satisfied with the way things are. And I'm not talking about planting karmas and seeds so that you can make a lot of money and have all the good things you want in life. Yes, you can get all those things, and that's important. And you should try to get those things. But you should try to get them for the right reasons. Because you still can't take your body with you. You still can't take the money with you. But can we do something different? Is there some other possibility? And the Buddha said, yes, there is. And so that's why the Buddha taught 36 ACI courses. Okay. You know, from beginning to end. Right? How can we transform the world that we're in so that we're not stuck in that cycle? We're not stuck in this birth, stay here for some time. Some of it's longer than others. You know, some people stay for a day. Some people don't even make it out of the womb. Okay. Some people stay for a week. Some people stay for a couple years. Some people stay until they're 10 or they're 20. Some people stay until they're 50 or 70. Some people stay till they're 100. But then that staying ends. And we all end up in the same place, right? And does it have to be that way? And then on a surface level, what's next? Let's hope that what's next, you know, this is really nice compared to some of the other places. Okay, this is really nice. Is it great? No, not always. No, this is going to be in a motivational course, Maria. This is motivation, right? So then you could take those guidances, those bodhisattva guidances. You can take all of those prakti moksha vows. You could take your diamond way vows at some point, right? And you can start creating the causes to change something so that you're not stuck in this body. Because your body and the you that you are isn't fixed. Right? The you that you are doesn't have to be the you that's appearing right now. And it all comes through service to other people, which is kind of a big leap at first. Like, how does taking care of other people create the causes so that you don't have to stay in this cycle of suffering? We'll learn about that. We'll learn about what that relationship is. When I first heard Lele Jikten Nasoke, when I first heard this, I heard it in a DCI course, DCI level 1. You know, and my teacher was describing what keeps this ceiling up, right? What keeps these walls up? Like, what keeps the, you know, why does that wall work? Like, why is it a wall? Why is it a bathtub, right? Why does it work? Like, why does it become a nice, relaxing tub that I can put jojoba oil in and I can relax, right? Why? And the answer that he gave was, it comes from how you treated other people, the kindness that you offered other people. And it takes a while to wrap our minds around that. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. Here we go. Now for the depressing part of the class. The depressing part of the class is, what text are we going to study? We always start our ACI courses with, here are the texts we're going to study. And this is on your homework. Why do I have to learn the names of the texts? Why do I have to learn the names of the authors? Why do I have to know their years, when they lived? Because these people will become your friends in years to come. Maybe they'll become your friends. I mean, not possibly, but these texts become your friends. Right. So here we go. What do I have here? Hold on a second. Got to get my notes up, make sure I don't screw things up. All right, here we go. What's the name of the book we're studying? I already told you. Abhidharmakosha. What is it in Tibetan? Ha! That's better. You don't know, Marina. What is it in Tibetan? Here, I'll give you guys a hint. That was hard to hear, but I think whoever answered the question said it correctly. Right? There's the name of the text, Chunam Pasu. Okay. Or you could just call it the Abhidharmakosha. That's fine. Cha means Dharma. Okay. Cha means existing thing. Okay. Anything that exists is a Dharma. Okay. That's why that word it's such a weird word. I'm going to study the Dharma. You ever hear someone say that? We're going to go to Dharma class. Okay. Oh, so you're going to just study all existing things? Like, these are the smart ass thoughts that go through my head. I'm like, oh, you're going to go study things. Nice. No, but it's really deep. Okay. It's really deep. Studying all things. Anything that's existing is a Dharma. Okay. Numpa Abi means highest. Oops, hey, go back here. It means highest, higher, okay? And so means kosha, which means treasure house, like a treasure, like treasury, a place that you put valuable things. Okay. So the treasure house of highest knowledge, and that's my little treasure box to remind you. Okay. So this book was written by whom? Who wrote this book?
Subhanga.
Vasubandhu. I want his Tibetan name. See, Marina, you can never win. Just because you think you know the answer doesn't mean I'm going to give you the answer. Master Vasubandhu. Yes, that's nice. Lopun, right. So here it is in Tibetan. I'm showing you guys the Tibetan for important reasons. That's what it looks like. Okay. That's what Tibetan looks like. That's what Tibetan looks like. When we're in the translator courses, our text looks like this in the database. And that's a great way to learn Tibetan, right? In the database, it makes it very searchable. You can do really cool things, right? ASCII database. But for crying out loud, learn the language, okay? Learn how to read it, okay? It says Master Vasubandhu. What are his years? When did he live? More or less. About 350 AD, correct. Who was his family members? Oh, that's cool.
Asanga.
Asanga. Thank you. Was that Persis?
Yeah.
Thank you. Master Asanga, right? Half brother. What is the last Tibetan word for his name? Nikyen. Nikyen. It's Gnyen. Someone else can put it in the chat. Something like that. So they were half brothers from the same mother. Okay. Arya Sangha, if you guys know the story of his story where he meditated for 12 years in a cave, was trying to meet Maitreya, couldn't do it, got upset, left, and then found a dog on the side of the street who had been run over. And he took care of the dog. And because of this act of compassion, Maitreya appeared. Right. I'll tell you the story another time. It's not important right now. But what's interesting, the reason I want to tell you this story. So this dog is laying on the side of the road, guts hanging out. And Asanga walks by and looks at it and goes, oh shit, this dog is dying. I mean, I imagine that's what he said. That's not what it says in the text. I'm just dramatic license. Okay, just Teresa gets like dramatic license. Okay. Just imagine, you're walking, it's like, oh, dang it. Right. That's not the part that the student wrote down, right? And he looks at, and he's trying to like put the insides back in. And then he sees that there's little tiny worms, like flies had landed on the insides and had hatched. And there's all these little worms, right? We call them maggots in English, crawling around, right? Kind of disgusting. But he's like, well, those are living beings too. So he's like, he tries to reach down and take the worms off before he shoves all the intestines back in the dog. And, using his fingers, he's like squishing the worms, right? And he's like, well, dang. Again, dramatic license. He's like, damn it, like I'm gonna kill those worms too. They have every right to live. Right? So he's like, I have to get them out, but I don't want to kill them, but I don't want to kill the dog. All beings, like there's this moment of equanimity that Asanga has. And so he's like, well, my fingers are going to smash them. He's like, well, maybe I can use my tongue to get them off, right? His tongue is soft, right? Like the wet tongue, will stick to the worm, and he can kind of like put it down on the ground, right? Is anyone grossed out yet? Okay. The magic of compassion. You will do anything. If you're overwhelmed with compassion, there's nothing disgusting. Okay. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna get rid of these worms, right? So he sticks out his tongue and he like bends down, right? And as he's heading down towards this dog, right? And he's like, he's probably grossed out a little. I just kind of imagine him being grossed out a little bit. Like, okay, I'm gonna do it, right? Sticks out his tongue. And then all of a sudden, like lower, 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 he's like, he closes his eyes because like I can't watch myself licking these worms, right? And then his head hits the ground, right? And the dog's gone. And he opens his eyes and he's like, what the hell? Again, dramatic license. He doesn't say what the hell in the text. He's like, what the hell? I'm just imagining what my world would be like if it happened to me. But then he sees the feet. He sees feet. He's like, what the heck? He's like, feet, that's weird. Looks up and there's Maitreya standing there in front of him, right? Like he's on the ground. And I kind of imagine like a prostration almost, right? He's on the ground. He looks up and there's Maitreya, the future Buddha, the coming Buddha. And he looks up and he's like, now this is in the text. Okay, this is dramatic irony. This is a dramatization of what he says. But he does get irritated and he looks up and he's like, where the hell have you been? I've been trying to reach you for 12 freaking years. Where have you been? Right? And Maitreya looks at him and says something, I can't remember exactly how it goes. But basically he says, the rain of the Dharma can only fall upon those who have the seeds to receive it. Basically what he was saying was, dude, you just didn't have enough compassion to see me. You didn't have the seeds to see me. And so by his act of deep and perfect compassion for like all these living beings, represented by a dog who's dying and all these worms inside of him, right? Finally, he was able to trigger an extraordinary vision of Maitreya, right? And so we say, right, that the dog, he saw a dog and then he saw Maitreya. Which one was it? This is the key to this course, all right, everyone? And if you're brand new, we're going to go through it right now. And I want you guys to really, really understand this point, because this is the key to understand this course. And the reason why we go through all the realms of existence. I don't know, maybe he was the worms too. I don't know. That's not in the text. Right? What is this thing? It's a pen. Correct. Good job. Yay. Not a trick question. Brand new people. This is a pen. Okay. Now, here's the key line. This door opens up back here and a little dog runs in. Right? And I shake this thing, this stick at it, right? And I say, hey, puppy, right? What does the dog do? What does the dog see? What does the dog perceive? All right. The dog goes, oh, I'm gonna play with this. Right? This is something to chew on. This is something to put in my mouth and run around and play with. Okay. Right. Who's right? Now, this is the next important thing. Who's correct? They're both correct. They have to be both correct because they're both perceiving something. Same object, two different perceptions. Oh, you just say, oh, the dog's just dumb. Get that thought out of your head. It's not that the dog is dumb. The dog has different seeds in their mind to see a pen. Excuse me. The dog has different seeds in their mind to see a chew toy. So you put this object on this table right here. There's the table. Where is it? Right there, right? Okay. All the dogs, all the humans, they all walk out of the room. In that moment, what is it? If someone puts one more word in there, oh, Persis, oh, you didn't wait, Persis. Oh, you would have got another $100. It's nothing yet. It's waiting to be something. Oh, yet to be. Desmond, I like that.
Siehst du?
Ich will das sehen.
Können wir dann auch sehen.
Vielleicht können wir wieder einstellen.
Ja.
Right, nothing yet. Okay. So then the human walks in the room, walks over to the table, looks down, and goes, pen. Okay. So now understand this. Where is penness coming from? Does it come this way? Like the pen is announcing, hey, I'm a pen. Or is the pen coming from this way, from my mind? Which way? Everyone, put up your left hand. And show me, is it this way or is it this way? Okay, nice. I like to see the palms of your hands. Okay, right? There's something about pen that's coming from me, all right? Something's coming from me. And there's something coming from the dog. Because if it were a pen and always a pen and announced itself as pen all the time, the dog would have to see it as a pen. There'd be no choice. They would have to see it as a pen. Maybe they can't pick it up and write with it because they don't have fingers, right? But they would have to see it as a pen. And we know from, if you really take this example and look around the world and look at the way that I see things and the way you see things and the way other cultures see things, you'll understand that we all don't see the same things when we're looking at the same object. Go to a place that's completely different, right? Go to another country. You know, I was just in Japan for 2 weeks. It's like, the people there think so differently. It's beautiful. Oh, this is what people call culture shock, right? You get irritated because people don't live the same, right? Well, they're looking at the same objects differently. And it's natural to different people. I got yelled at because I was sitting outside in a garden, and you're not allowed to sit out in the garden. There's some gardens you're allowed to, and some gardens you're not allowed to, and I haven't figured out which ones you're allowed to sit in. Okay, there's some rules. There's some gardens that aren't for sitting. There's other gardens that are for sitting. There's no signs. They don't tell you, okay? But some people there's a group of people that look at this space and say, you can't sit in it. Go to Mexico, everyone sits in every garden, okay? Right? If you're not sitting in the garden, there's a problem. Okay, right? It's just different people doing different things in the same space, right? It's a great view of emptiness. But, okay, let us go back to the story. So, there's something in your mind that makes this different, right? Makes this a pen. There's something in a dog's mind that makes it different. That makes it a chew toy. Exactly the same as Arya Sangha. Okay. Now that gets a little bit more challenging, right? He saw a dog, and then he saw an an almost enlightened being, a future Buddha. Okay. But if you wrap your mind around that, there's no difference. You're just a human that sees things in a certain way. And you have something in your mind that creates it that way. So because of his compassion, which is what I said in the beginning, right? There's something about the way you treat other people that can create a perfect paradise. Right? So he sees Maitreya, meets Maitreya. So there's something about you and your seeds that create the world that you see. The multitudes of worlds come from karmas, from the way you treat other people. So if we can figure out the karmas that create hell realms, or find out the karmas that create enlightened paradises, maybe we can figure out which seeds to plant so that we can create Maitreyas, and what seeds to not create hell realms. Let me tell you guys something. Hell is not a place that's 20,000 leagues under the sea, below the earth, where there's like fire and brimstone. And heaven is not a place that's up in the sky, like beyond the clouds, where God is hanging out. Is right here, right? You could be looking around your room and be like, this is an enlightened paradise, or this is a hell realm that's going to kill me, right? Depending on your karma, this could be a burning hell realm right now. You got to think about it, and we'll go through that. Okay. So that's a long diversion because I always talk too much. Arya Sangha is Master Vasubandhu's half brother. Coming back. Right, exactly, Mark. That's very real what we're dealing with, right? 5 very wealthy people. It's terrible, right? 5 very wealthy people want to go and look at the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean. They get in a little boat. They get in a little submarine, right? Going down, probably happy, having a good time. Bam, right? It's awful. So let's go back. Arya Asanga's half-brother, Master Vasubandhu, wrote this book, Abhidharmakosha. In this book is incredibly detailed about everything about the world. And in this, so Master Vasubandhu wrote this book as kind of a confession activity, because he was at one point, he was talking some smack on the Abhidharma, on the lower tracks. Translators talking smack. Insulting. Okay. He was insulting the lower tracks, that the lower tracks weren't useful, weren't relevant, weren't helpful. Right. And then we'll talk more a little bit later, but he basically realized that he was wrong, that the lower tracks are incredibly helpful. And so as a confession activity, he wrote the Abhidharmakosha. All right. And it's incredibly valuable in so many ways. And for so many different levels of practitioners, even the highest practitioners. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's go through the stuff you need to know. All right, we're going to be studying a commentary called Tarlam Selje. Here we go. Got a nice little picture for you to explain Tarlam Selje. Illumination on the path to freedom. Okay, Tar is, let me show you the words first so you can see them. Tarlam Selje. Tar is freedom, Lam is path. Selje is to illuminate, like the sun. Okay. So that's why we have this little cute picture here. Illumination of the path to freedom. And it's written by His Holiness the First Dalai Lama Gelwa Gendrup. And I didn't put his years on. I'm sorry. His years are 1371. Let me look at my notes. 1391, 1474. I'll put that in the chat for you guys because that was not 1391 to 1474. Numbers are always hard. Oh, Christian, nice. Nice screenshots. Okay. So this is a commentary by the first Dalai Lama. All right. Yay, that was exciting. Let's move on to something else. Okay. All right. So basically, the way that the Buddhist cosmology works, there's three main divisions. Okay. Abhidharma, for certain minds, is glorious, and for other minds, it's annoying. Okay. For my mind, I like it. It's divisions, categories. You know, one of the criticisms of Buddhism is there's too many lists, there's too many categories, right? Ah, Yasheng, how are you? It's good to see you. But for some minds, it's enjoyable. It's like, makes the world nice. So we're going to make the world nice. There are three categories. There's three realms. And you should learn them. Here they are. The first realm, and I love this picture, perfectly encapsulates the desire realm. Okay? Because there's two main things about the desire realm. And you have to think about it. And then you realize what it is. It's a realm of craving. You want things. You want things. And you want things in the wrong way. right? You want two main things: sustenance, food, right? And you want, they just blatantly say it in the Abhidharma Kosha, you want sex. You desire connection with others. You desire pleasure. Okay. And they just wrap it up in the form of sex. Okay. And that's why I like this picture. This couple is both eating and making preludes to sex. Okay. It's cute. It actually is really cute. Okay. It's beautiful. But these are our main drivers in the desire realm, like the main thing that pushes us along. You know what makes me grumpy? Loneliness and being hungry. When I'm hungry, I am not a pleasant person to be around. Okay. When I'm lonely, I'm not a pleasant person to be around. Okay. These are the main qualities of the desire realm. You want to feel good. Okay. Like I'm taking I'm taking sex to mean bigger than just physical relations between two people. I'm taking it to mean like we desire things that feel good. We run towards things that feel good. And we run away from things that don't feel good. Right? We push things away that we don't like, pain, suffering, assholes. Okay. And we run towards things that make us feel good. Sex, lovers, coffee, donuts, pizza. By the way, I had the best meal ever on the flight back from Japan. Even the Japanese airplane food services are extraordinary. Okay. Somehow they've mastered the art of airplane food, which is such a Japanese thing to do. Right? They master the art of everything. No, it's actually United. That's the weird thing. It was an American airline. Okay. Usually they just give you shit food, right? That's right. Beautiful roses, yoga nidra, and hot baths. Those are the things that I desire in the desire realm. Okay. That's realm number one. Yeah, ANA is a pretty good airline. The English translation of that is the path of the illumination of freedom. Excuse me. Illumination of the path to freedom. That's what that is. All right, so learn this word. Here's the desire realm. Here's this lovely couple eating food, enjoying each other's physical time together. It's called the dukkham. All right, desire realm. That's one group. The second group, oops. We're going to call this the form realm. Okay. And there's different ways of describing this. So you guys want to look at it. It's called the sukham. Sukh means form. And form's a little bit weird word to describe this. These are beings that are kind of like, we can't see them. They have such good karma, right? They still have form. They still have physical bodies. I chose like, mythological god here, right? Like they're not like gods in the sense of like, enlightened beings or things like that, right? But they have the highest, like their form is the highest of it. Geshe-la oftentimes calls it Iron Man, like, from Marvel. That's really cool. There's 2 hummingbirds outside the window. We always try to tell Geshe Michael, look, Iron Man is not form realm, because Iron Man is just a guy in a suit. But he doesn't listen to us. So there's probably something there, right? And the reason is that even though they have perfect bodies, right? They don't desire food and sex, but they just have good, enjoyable lives, right? But they still suffer in the sense that at the end of their life, they've used up so much good karma that they usually fall to the lower realms at that point. Okay, this is the form realm. We'll talk more about it later. Okay, Sukhkam. And then the third major realm is the Sukhmekam, which is the formless realm. So this is when you still have a mind, you don't have a body. Okay, this is the only way I could represent this, like outer space, right? No form, you're just floating in the void of outer space, right? Oh, it looks like there's lots of stars around, but you're just surrounded by dark blackness. Okay, your mind is very subtle. Really no mental afflictions at all, but no body. Okay, these are the 3 main categories. So we have 3 main realms of beings: desire realm, form realm, and formless realm. So form and formless realm are considered, quote, higher rebirths. Like higher, like there's less suffering than as a human, for example, but they're still suffering, right? And then the desire realm has all these other beings, which we're going to talk about. All right. This is where the Abhidharma gets fun. Okay, desire realm. I'm just going to give you a list and we'll go through this stuff later. We're going to go deeper into this later. Here's just the list so you know what we're dealing with. So then the desire realm has 20 parts. Okay. Ready? Here's all 20 parts. The 20 parts are put together in groups, so it's easy to get. The first group are the 8 hell realms. Okay, there's 8 different levels of hells. Hot hells, fire and brimstone. Okay, we're going to describe what they're like later. They're awful. Okay, they're awful. So that's one group of 8. So that means there's 12 more. The next group is called craving spirits, pretas, right? And these are types of beings who might call them ghosts. Some people call them that. They've craved so much, like they want something so much that in the next life, they're just obsessed with this one thing. Like they're thirsty. They just want water, right? But their mouth is so small that they can't drink any water. So they crave any liquid, but they can't actually have it, right? Or they crave food, or they get stuck to a house. Like, haunted houses, they're just so attached to their house that then they have to live in it in their next life, right? It's not a very fun place to be, I imagine. That's one. That's one. So now we're at 11 or 13. Okay. Next one is the animal realm. Oh, look how cute that squirrel is. So cute, right? Animals have a particular kind of suffering, right? Oh, they look so cute. But living as an animal is like living in a state of perpetual fear. Mostly. Why do birds fly away when you open the door? Like if I had opened that door to look at the hummingbirds, they would have flown away. Why do pigeons fly away? Why do squirrels move their head like this all the time, right? It's smart for an animal to be always looking over its shoulder because there's always a bigger fish. For $50, what's that a quote from? Francisco will know. Don't worry, it's not important. There's always a bigger fish, right? There's always a bigger animal. Probably, that's not what I'm thinking though. Right? It's not fun to be a cute furry squirrel. All right, then, so that's 13. No, 8. I'm sorry, let me go back here. Here's 8, here's 9, here's 10. All right, here we go. There's 14. So there's 4 different types of human rebirths, they say. Okay. And in the old Buddhist cosmology, there's 4 continents that humans live on. We'll learn about them. Okay. And we, the humans that we know, live on one of them. Okay. Don't worry about it so much. The point is that there's humans. Okay. And there's 4 types of humans, but really don't worry about it so much. And then there's 6 types of pleasure beings that are in the desire realm. Okay. We can't quite see them. Like if you imagine like the kind of like if you thought about like Olympic gods, like Mount Olympus, like can't see them, but they're kind of there. They live in a lot more beauty than we do, but they're still they still have the afflictions of food and sex. Okay, don't worry about it so much. The point is that there's all these beings. Which beings can we see? Normally, we can see humans and animals. Those are the ones we interact with, right? And then there's all these other like spirits, craving spirits, hell beings, right? And then we have these pleasure beings, which are kind of above us, all right? And this isn't that far from how we maybe see the world in general, right? It's not that far. We might have a little bit different worldviews and grown up differently, but that's how that all fits together. So all of these beings are living in all these different realms, right? And they're all happening. Oh, that's a good question. What about plants? Buddhism only deals with what they consider beings that have minds. Okay. And Buddhism would say a plant doesn't have mind. I might disagree, but plants don't get counted. I'm not sure why. Well, they don't say a plant doesn't have a mind. That's what they say. That's a good question. We could debate that. So all these different beings. Yeah, that's the word, Sharon, that they use, sentient beings. I don't like the word sentient being because what the hell does that mean? Beings that have a mind, living beings, a being that has a mind. Sentient is a very Buddhist term that only Buddhists use. Okay. And trying to use words that so we can go out into the world and talk to people, talk to normal people. All right, so that's talked about that. Okay. So what is it that makes for a being in the desire realm? Okay, like what counts? So basically what the Abhidharma says is that the beings in places that have objects that can create negative emotions, where non-virtues develop. Okay, so it's a weird definition. So everything in the desire realm deals with objects that create negative emotions, mental afflictions, in which non-virtues develop. So that definition means that in these other realms, like the form realm and the formless realm, it's not possible to create non-virtue. That's a debate. Like life is just so nice in the form realm that you're not creating non-virtue. But you're also not creating virtue either. Because you have no reason to do nice things for other people. Because everything's good. Everyone's nice. Everything's happy, right? And what happens in the form realm when people start to die is that there's so much aversion to it that you just don't help them. You just walk away. Apparently, what they say in the form realm is that the bodies, for the first time in thousands of years, the body starts smelling like as it's dying. And everyone goes, oh, and they just like leave that person to die by themselves. They don't help them. Yeah, I know, Julia, it's kind of a non-virtue. There's a little bit of illogical inconsistencies. It's the Abhidharma. Sharon, pleasure beings that are jealous, those are the ones that are primarily in the desire realm. Remember, there's 6 types of pleasure beings in the desire realm. There's pleasure beings in the form realm and ones in the desire realm. I know it's confusing. Don't worry. But mainly the idea is the focus on is in the desire realm, the objects that we perceive, create, can be objects of non-virtue. All right. And we'll talk about it. Don't worry about it right now. And we're going to pause there today. I think that's enough. That's enough of the lists. Tomorrow or the next class, which I think is, I don't know when the heck it is. Tuesday, maybe? What's today? I think the class is Monday. Yeah, class is Monday. We'll go through a little bit more about the descriptions of the various realms of the form and formless realm. So we didn't finish all of the homework. There's 4 questions left. We'll get through those pretty quickly. And then the next class goes. Yeah, we just go into more detail in the next class of all of this stuff. So I just want to review really quickly. What are we doing? We're learning about all the different kinds of beings there are. Why? Primarily because we don't want to become them ourselves. Step 1, right? Step 2 is how do we learn to care for them? Okay. And by understanding all the different types of beings, and we can understand how to care for them, then we can start moving along on a path that can help us become someone who can really take care of everybody. Right? You can really take care of everybody. So this course, while it looks like just a descriptive course of the entire universe, right? It actually provides us with the foundation to go much deeper into our practice. All right. So I have homework for you guys. Besides the homework, besides the homework you'll find in the platform. The homework is get yourself a little book. All right. This is my 6 times a day book. All right. If you don't know what that is, we'll talk about it later. But in the back of it, yes, that's correct. The homework will be posted on the platform. I want you to start, just make this a daily practice. Don't go crazy. Don't get obsessed. But start writing in this book all the beings that you're going to help when you become an enlightened being. Okay. So for example, who's on my list? Who did I just put on my list? I put on the list the 5 guys that died in the submarine. I'm going to help them, right? There was a little ant that was crawling over my plate the other day, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to help you, right? My friend got sick the other day. I'm like, okay, I'm going to help you, right? Just start making a list of the people that you're going to help. Get a book. It's going to get large. Just put a couple in every single day, right? Who are you going to help? Who did you see today that needs your help? And also write down why. Like, what do you see that they have? And just make a list. Just make a list. Don't do it. You don't do anything with it. Like, what kind of suffering do you see that they have? That's all. Thank you all for joining. Very excited to see all of you. So wonderful to see you guys here. Thanks to the tech team. Thanks to the ACI team. Thanks for advertising this class. ACI team. 140 people. That's not too bad. It's not that high, though. It could be higher. There's 8 billion humans on this planet, and only 140 came to this class. We got a little bit of work to do. Okay, thanks for joining. Thank you, translators. And we'll see you on Monday morning. And as always, please turn on your microphones and let's say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye
Tim. Thank you very much.
bye. Thank you, teacher. Thank you, team.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, lovely teacher.
Thanks,
Благодарю.
thanks, Jenny.
Achu.
Bye.
Love you.
Thank you.
Gracias, Tim.
Gracias, Tim, maestro Tim.
Thank you so much.
Cảm ơn thầy.
Bye bye.
Cảm ơn rất nhiều.
Thank you.
Дякую.
Gracias, gracias. Gracias.
That's so much fun. We should do that for the whole class. Oh, for those of you that are, let's turn off that. I was supposed to do a promo that we're gonna record. All right, translators, this will be a quick promo. Let me turn this around so there's a better, so we're not looking at a bathroom. How about this? Alona, you were supposed to remind me. This is what happens when I'm on jet lag. There we go. That looks nicer. That looks a little bit nicer.